Hey everybody, welcome back to the Contractor's Corner. This is your weekly dose. I am your host Johnny V, and we are with Jay Carter. How you doing today,
Yes.
buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm feeling good. How are
Awesome.
you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. This is one I wanna go through because I have a bit of the same problem. I'm not immune from effective communication on the
Oh,
job site. It always falls apart from management down to the field.
absolutely. It's one of the biggest problems that we encounter and we help contractors fix, but it is a commitment to continuous improvement because you're never going to be perfect at it. No company is. No, I've yet to meet anybody that even gets it to 80%. I would say, including
That's a relief,
myself.
dude.
So yeah, this is an area where, again, when we apply our growth mindset, all right, and growth is that I don't strive for perfect anymore. There is no such thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I go for what am I doing consistently that I can track and measure to make sure that I'm doing my best. Okay, and I've given up the idea that anyone or anything could be perfect because at scale, you know what, shit happens, right?
Yeah.
Things get missed, balls get dropped, but it's how you recover from that and how you deal with it that shows your experience or not, right? So communication is a very, I feel like it's a very broad that we could go into years of discussion and have experts in for days. And I mean, there's books dedicated to it. We don't have an encyclopedia. So let's talk today about like what's the most practical way at a very easy level that you can work, improving this area of your business
Right.
into your routine, right? And yeah. So tell me, Johnny, like, what do you struggle with?
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, and I think I speak for a lot of people. I see it all over the place. Is that management has great communication, between each other. Where it starts to fall apart is communicating down to the field. Um,
Mhm.
like for one, the expectations, setting clear expectations with the crew. There's a lot of communication errors that can happen between management and down, especially since the motivations are different, right?
Yeah, you're close. You're close. So let's talk about that. Do you think that? Let me maybe put it as an example. All right. So management, yes, they are naturally better at communicating than trades. All right. But do both equally like? Do they like when they're shown appreciation? Is there
Well,
is there any is there any difference between a field worker and a manager in terms of how they appreciate being shown appreciation?
yeah, no, not at all. I mean, they're all human beings, right?
Okay. Want to improve your communication really quickly? Once a
Sure.
week, once a week. All right. Reach out to your field guys. If you're the manager, you speak directly to your guys and have those discussions. What do you appreciate? Right? Just showing a slight bit of gratitude and just saying, hey, you know what? Great job last week. I appreciate you. Like, it's so easy to get people on your side because I think sometimes we forget that, people are people, right? We're all in different struggles. And as managers do it, all right, they teach their team to do it, right? They're instilling those things, and leadership comes from that place, right? It's being able to say, hey, you did a great job, or having the tougher conversations. But at the end of the day, I mean, remember that it's not generally a communication problem as much as it's a buy-in, and it's your leadership that's failing you, right?
Right.
So when we have problems on the site, and again, you've been on the trade, like tools, you've been on the trades, like why are guys so resistant to management in a lot of cases? Because they're barking orders at them, right? They're not showing their appreciation. It's the little things. It's little tiny things. It's not the big things we think it is, right? It leads to the big things, but it's the little things. So again, how often does management come down and go, hey, you know what? I understand there's a problem. How do we work this out and get their buy-in instead of trying to come up with a problem and jam it down their throat,
Right. Just
right?
about as often as they come to
Yeah,
me and appreciate what I do, because I think that's where we get lost, right? We don't
right.
experience the appreciation either, so it's not top of mind.
Totally. And again, and as the owner who, again, it's very easy to take our own emotions and misinterpret a activity that you're having or a disagreement, on the sites or attitude or, misinterpret that as being a shot against us,
Right.
right? And again, when we go in with a shitty attitude, all right, everybody loses. And I think a lot of contractors forget that. Like your mindset, the way you feel that day, all right, needs to be higher than what the crew feels. It's your job to lead, right? And again, whether you're faking it, whether you're, but remember, what you put out is what you get back. And I don't think guys really take that into consideration. It's contagious, right? Like you've seen it. Guys come in and they're in a shitty, like, and you don't have somebody that can lead. They all become toxic, right? And it just takes that one guy. And I've removed so many people that were amazing installers, amazing, like, but just toxic, right? And I look out for those things. And when I'm looking for leaders, that's one of the things that I'm always very cautious of looking into is what happens when, they're faced with adversity? Does their attitude change? Does the way they treat other people change? Right? Because again, we chalk so much up to, breaks in our processes and stuff when it's really just coming down to a simple human being thing, right? People
That
want
interaction.
people want that, and they want, and a lot of times we get so busy, we get so wound up in our own problems that we're trying to solve that we neglect those things for periods of time, and then wonder why, just giving the guy the paycheck and the job, he doesn't appreciate you that much. He won't go that extra mile, And when we make changes in our business, all right, this is where I see the biggest breakdown in communication. I see the biggest opportunities lost. Is it takes no time, even if you have the answers, to go and ask somebody that's, involved in your business that you trust to be on your job site what they think.
Yeah.
Right. And I ask my laborers, I ask everybody, like, again, if I'm going to make a change, you know why? Because it's not just a change that's going to make the business like that. That is such a narrow way to look at it. It's a change that affects everybody, and everybody is affected by change. And by the way, the guys that are in the field, but like, whether you realize it or not, most of them are highly resistant to change. Okay. And there's a very, very deep rooted reason why. You, the contractor, are a little bit more open to change. That's why you've taken risks. That's why most of your your best guys are going to come down to a few personality types that are terrified of change. All right. That's why they work at some shitty jobs for long periods of time, being, underappreciated, underpaid, and all these other things. So again, keep those things in mind, is that, they're suffering, and a lot of times they're not bringing that stuff to you, right? But if you start to get their buy-in, you start to ask the right questions, start to really, try to connect with them and make things better for them, not just you, you're going to find a very big turnaround, and it will be contagious. Just like you can be toxic, you can also, spread the same thing. And when you're looking for leaders to come into your business, that's the first thing you need to look for, is how do they treat people? Okay. If you're putting a leader in place that talks down to people and doesn't get buy-in, and doesn't, like, the second you're not there, that, he's treating people less than you would treat them, get rid of that person. That's not your leader. That's not leadership at all, right? It's the opposite. Those things will kill your business, right? And again, it's how they treat the lowest person on the totem pole. I mean, again, we can get into tactics and strategies, but I think, if I had to give something that's going to have immediate and lasting effect, gratitude, baby. That's all it takes.
I like it because, I mean, it's so damn obvious on the surface, but it really bridges the gap. Like when we started, like I said, the gap between management and the field staff, like
Massive.
that's a very real thing. But gratitude, appreciation.
Right.
I mean, it's simple. It opens the dialogue.
Small things.
The small things. But there's other things that we can do to improve communication.
So again, but before you make any improvement, so yes, there's company cam, there's a million tactics and strategies.
Sure.
But before you can get those to stick, you know why most contractors are frustrated? Is because they've tried something and it's failed. And they tried something and it's failed, and it's tried something. And I'm trying to explain to you why. Like, if you've got a really good guy that shows up every day, does his job, and goes home, chances are he's a certain personality profile where, like, he's used to being, underappreciated, right? They're used to, there's defender profiles and a personality type. And they're the ones that get genuinely overlooked. They're the ones that don't get the, the opportunities as much. And that bugs them, right? And again, without them, we wouldn't have a business. All
No,
right.
you're right.
Now, maybe they're not the top performers. Maybe they're slower to learn. Okay. But we all have them. If you have any sort of established business, you have these guys on your side, right? And what happens to us as owners and as contractors is we get so busy and we overlook those things, right? The first person, if you're going to make a change in anything you're doing, okay, I don't care if you're changing the friggin' color of the toilet paper, all right, is go to them first. Go to them first and get their opinion, because if they're not bought in, nobody else is, right? The guy that's been there the longest, the guy that, again, fits these kind of profiles. And you will find that that is where the change starts, right? I've done dramatic changes in my business and seen, doing this right looks like and what doing this wrong looks like.
Yeah,
And you can never put your finger on it. You struggle with, well, why didn't that work? And then start pointing your finger going, my guys don't appreciate it. My guys don't care. My guys don't like, you take that victim mentality
absolutely.
when it simply comes down to this. If you're jamming things down their throat, that's you making a demand on them. And they don't have to do anything more than what they're doing for you. And they know that, right? Now, if you truly want to make a change, I answer the simplest question. What's in it for me? Why would they buy into this? All right. The easiest way is don't give the whole solution. Go in with an open mind and be like, hey guys, this is the problem that we have. Here's the idea I have. Get them to put one piece of their input in on it, and then put it in the play. Now it's everybody's. Now everybody is on board.
Right.
Until you get that buy-in, until you get that support, and just, again, we talk politics and stuff like that. It is the simplest political game you'll ever play. They're already won over, like they're working with you, right? And again, taking it to them first, they're going to appreciate and they're going to feel like they have ownership of that outcome, and they're going to feel a lot better about the change. Okay. They're going to be invested in making that change with you because they have a piece of their idea in it, right? Or their feedback. And when we can hold the whole team and we're all working towards the same thing, that's leadership to me. You lead your team, and again, you got to be willing. And I don't think a lot of contractors are open to this because of, being on the tools and, again, directing crews. Like, it doesn't teach us those skills, right? It doesn't teach us that gap. And, management's the same way. Like, if you've made the jump from being, in the field to management, or, you never were in the field, the biggest gap is the misunderstanding of why things happen and what's in it for me, right? Why would I change, for this company that doesn't appreciate me, right? Doesn't take the time to actually, show me gratitude, right? And, all that stuff comes out in whether or not that the company can adapt to changes, period, right?
Yeah, I think the information flow obviously has to go two ways. It has to go
Right.
down, right, and
Mm-hmm.
then back up. And you're 100% right. If the guys don't feel appreciated, if your crews don't
Mm-hmm.
feel welcome and their ideas feel welcome, to get that information back up the chain
Mm-hmm.
and reversing the flow, we need it on the management level, right? We
Right.
need that
Right.
dialogue.
Right. Well, and again, more so than ever, like, managers are a dime a dozen in my eyes. Okay. Managers think at a different level, and you need them in certain places and certain
Of course,
elements. Leadership is hard to find. Okay. And
it is.
leadership is putting your ego at the door. All right. Leaving it at the door and admitting your mistakes and looking for the better good of your team. Right. So oftentimes when I'm looking at these real problems, these real, like, one that comes to my mind, we were working with a huge company with 100 guys, like 100 employees that have communication problems all over the place. And they have all these things. The owner wants to give up, like literally wants to quit with this huge business he's built for the last 30 years because he can't get his guys to work together. They have political things. It's like a war every day.
I've
And
experienced that.
right. And we all, again, I remember being in the union. It was like that, like lots of
Yep.
toxicity, and guys are like, and when you start to look back, I go, well, and I asked the owner, like, tell me what the relationship is between you and your project manager. Oh, well, this guy is fucking, he starts talking shit about him right to my face. And I'm going, okay, all right, I see. And I go to the project manager, and we have a call, and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this guy? And what do you think about this guy? And I'm like, okay, I know what the problem is. Easy peasy. Like, you don't have one person, including yourself, that's a leader. And if I brought a leader in here, a true one, they would be the outcast. All right. And if you want your morale in your business, you have to base it on people that have that ability in them, even in adversity, even, with their back up against the wall, to do the right thing and to think about the people that are there and show the appreciation. It's just small things, right? It's how you treat people, really, right? That
Yeah.
is going to make great crews. And the best crew leaders I've ever encountered, the guys that were far better than what I could do, all had that one skill, in common, is that they could motivate, and they didn't look at just picking favorites. They treated everybody the same, with the same compassion, the same, empathy, the same,
Yeah.
the same approach. There was no picking sides or having favorites, because that leads nowhere, right? That gives you no forward motion. So again, a lot of times we do this thing where, we have our top guy and we'll only talk to him. And like, again, that's wrong. That is the
Right.
wrong position to take, right?
Well, it's hard because, I mean, you'll probably say it's not that hard, but management tends to attract a certain personality, right? The dominant
Absolutely.
personality. And we have to be really, really careful how to identify the leaders from the managers. And
Absolutely.
like, how,
It's the easiest test in the world. How do they treat people when you're not there? Right? Do
true.
they talk down? Do they mistreat people because they have that authority over them? Because to me, that's an immediate like red flag. You're like, and again, I'm gonna warn you about it. And myself, okay, listen, I'm not perfect. I do these things sometimes when I'm not thinking, right? And I'll say something, and I'll have to go back and say, you know what? Hey, earlier today when we had that conversation, I don't want you to feel like I was attacking you, because I wasn't, right? We're on the same team. One thing I don't do is talk shit about other people, right? It has no place. It
Right.
has no room. If we're talking about somebody, it's literally, what was the behavior? Why did it happen? Have we supported that person? Like, what would be making him take that response? All right. And we're very careful on how we approach that, right? So again, it's because we have to be who we want to have in the field.
Right.
And if we're not living by that, and it comes down to core values and all those things, but if you've built a culture around, toxicity, well, don't cry when nobody's communicating and nobody's, working together. If you build a culture around, equal opportunities, and, about, the ability to connect, the ability to sync up, right? And you make that a point of doing it yourself and showing your people and your staff the benefits and getting their buy-in on it and explaining to it from day one, you'll never have those problems, right? And the communication will be, just that much easier, right? And life gets easier. And these are the little things, again, as you're growing and scaling a business, that no one teaches you, no one tells you. You make the mistake forever, and it totally has a massive impact on the outcome, right? Again,
Yeah.
guys that are turning over a lot of guys that are, that have had the same guys for so long and can't bring in new guys. All right. Why is that? Start looking at what
That's right.
the culture is. And a lot of businesses get stunted right there. I know I went through it for a long time, where we had such little turnover because we've had our guys 10, 15, 16 years, but anyone that was new coming in, we just churned them like crazy.
Turn them.
And
Yeah.
then, and again, it came down to what leadership I had in place. And then, how I reversed that was, really getting their buy-in, explaining them the situation, explaining to them, why it was happening. All right. What I seen, how we could improve it, right? What they suggested we do to improve it, and then holding everybody accountable. Right. And just like that, the problem went away.
Yeah, I've been in this environment before, as I mentioned, and
Yeah.
a lot of what I've noticed, and I don't know if everybody does this, but what I don't see or hear won't hurt me. It's that kind of
Mm.
mentality. It's like almost like the business owner just doesn't want to look. There's just so many other important things to do. It opens up a whole can of worms, and it's scary, and it's like,
For sure.
right,
For sure. So, but again, stop thinking about how to change the problem, when it's become a problem.
right,
Practice being proactive rather than reactive. It takes zero time. Okay. Zero time on a weekly basis to get this buy-in, to get this feedback, to get, like, we all have ideas. We're stressed. Like, again, what does it take to make that extra step? And put it in your calendar. Make it a point. Again, you want to see my calendar? I have dates save for when I show appreciation and when I show, my team, and I'm honest, and
That's cool.
again, I can show you right in my calendar. Like today was one of the days for my team, and I do it often, right? I do it on a weekly basis where I'm reflecting on, hey, you know what? Instead of looking at all the bad things that are going on, what went right? Right? What's going well? Who's showing the effort? Who's giving their all? And you know what? We can't always win, right? Reach out to them, say thank you for the things they're doing well, and you will see a tremendous change, right? Because people are people, right? We don't want to be just told that we suck, or a boss that shows up only when there's a problem,
Yeah. No, I mean, it's no
right?
different than at home, right? I mean,
Right,
this is what we live off of, appreciation,
right.
especially, and it's a male dominated space, and
Hmm.
men especially really need that kind of
Especially,
reassurance, right? Yeah.
and again, if you really got underneath it all, and most trades guys and staff that I've worked with, they're screaming for it, right? They don't get
Yep.
it at home, they don't get it anywhere, and then they come to a place where it's just stripped from them even further. I mean, again, it is very toxic in a lot of cases, and we, as the leaders, all right, have a opportunity to improve that, and throw out some of those limiting beliefs that exist, like, hey, it wouldn't be masculine to say, hey, thanks for something. You know what I mean? Like, again, make it a part of who you are, and don't just do it with your employees because you need them. Do it for the real reason, right? Like, again, they're helping you build this business, and you want them to be a part of it. You want them to feel like they have a share and that they have impact. Okay, they're not getting it anywhere else, I promise.
No,
Right?
no.
Like, again, it's not great. You know what I mean? So why do you have to be a part of the problem and not the solution?
Yeah, I've seen men that are unrecruitable, not
Yep.
because of pay, but just
Hmm.
because they love where they are. They appreciate, and they get appreciated.
Absolutely. And again, I've also seen the same, and how it can be that some people work at companies for 20 years still. Like, I mean, I have guys with me that 10, 15 years, but it's the communication we've built, it's the appreciation. They don't need to question if I'm on their side or not. Like, there's none of that, right? And at the end of the day, I look out for their best interest. I look out, like, I put my team in front of myself a lot of times. All right. I don't go to them and hold it over their head. Like, I don't do any of that stuff. All right. I try to keep things simple. I try to keep things straightforward. I try to be direct when we have to have hard conversations. We have them. Right. But it's those things that most guys won't do. They
Yeah.
put all the other problems that are happening to them. All right. Taking that victim mentality. All this stuff is happening to me. No, it's not happening to you. It's happening for you. And if you open your eyes, you'll see, like, the solution to it a lot of times is, again, what's going right? What do you appreciate? Show that gratitude. If you haven't done it for a while, you'll see a big change in people, and then be consistent with it, right? There's no reason why you wouldn't be consistent with it. If you do appreciate where you've gotten, I mean, and who cares about the adversity? That never goes away. That will always be a part of business, and whether you like it or not, it's just your ability to move through it,
Yeah,
right? Your ability
absolutely.
to overcome it.
I love it. I think we can end this here, Jay. With this, it's
Yeah.
been really enlightening.
Hmm.
You
Awesome.
definitely set me straight, and I wouldn't have thought that one through. Glad I talked to you.
Yeah, trying to make it simple, right? Well, we can add tactics and strategies and everything else in another call, but, like, let's start with the very basics, right?
Yeah, and again, I'd love to hear some comments from the people in our group. Any suggestions, any ideas that you have, like, feel free, share them,
Yeah,
share your
absolutely.
stories.
Talk to you.
Take care.